Good.
Good morning. This is Cindy Lawrence, and I have a special guest here, Ken Ashworth. So we're here because we're going to discuss wills and trusts, and what's the difference, and why do people need it? So the families would determine whether they decide if they want a will or a trust, or the individual.
Well, the individual does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think, as I know, I have a trust, my daughter has a trust.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things we talked about in a trust, and we're just going to really put into place here, is having something for your underage children.
Okay.
That's a biggie, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, and that's a whole nother subject.
Where we are.
Yeah.
I'm the father of 6. Okay.
Uh-huh.
And, you look at this and the fact is, and then you have grandkids.
Right.
Okay? So we'll forget about the kids for a moment. Okay?
Yes, let's talk about the grandkids. Because we like them better.
Oh, by far. Not even in the ballpark. So the grandkids, you want to, and it's any underage child, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So someone 18 and older. But if you even have someone who doesn't understand fiscal responsibility,
Right.
or has, you have different issues. Every family has some
Dynamics,
problems, okay?
yes.
So as you go through that, then you're going to put together a spendthrift trust. And a spendthrift trust, you can say, well, it's for going to be their education, their health, welfare, all those, whatever you want it to be, buy a house, whatever it is. And the trustee of the trust will control that. And the trustee has a fiduciary responsibility. Because let's say mom and dad die, okay? And the child's 8 years old.
Right.
Well, a lot of children then aren't ready until the age of 18 to spend their own money. So it's a spendthrift trust, which becomes an irrevocable trust till they're 18. You can make it 80. You can make it 100.
You can make it whatever you want.
Because you could say, we want them to go to school. Well, Harvard's different than going to UNLV or whatever it is, the schooling.
Sure.
So you're going to put that in there. So you, as the grantor of the trust, you're able to put in whatever it is you want for your grandchildren, for anybody you want. I mean, it doesn't have to be, the only people you have to share your estate with is a spouse. That's it.
God,
that's it.
It's not always so much fun.
No, it isn't. It isn't. So you do that, but you still have
But
you're 50%. You still can say, I'm going to leave to my grandkids,
Right.
my children,
Right.
so they have everything going. So if you're a young
Family, parent.
and the thing is, people think about this a lot. I have clients, and you have clients. Sometimes they're, we can tell stories. They're 30 years old and they're making millions of dollars a year, or they're not. But something happens to them.
Right.
They pass away. I mean, I've had that unfortunate. One of my children passed away at a younger age, but he was married. You have children. You have to make sure though. So a trust or your estate plan, you need to think of no matter what. If you're working, you should get one.
So a trust really can encompass your whole life.
It's everything.
And I don't think people understand that that's there to direct on your behalf when you pass.
Right. While you're alive, okay, you can change it however you want. This is a revocable trust, not irrevocable. So there's no asset protection with this.
Right.
None.
Okay.
That's a different
different conversation.
time. So you have that. So you put it together. So I tell people, we put it together. You don't like it when you go home. You signed it all. We just amend it. We can change it. We can throw it away and start all over again.
You can change or add or amend a trust anytime every
you
time.
want. Anytime. What I do when I start to people is I say, okay, what's going on? We get a list of their assets and we figure out what's best for them.
Okay.
Because the exemption amount that you have for right now is a little over $11 million. It'll probably in 2026 it's going to go down to 5.5 to 7.5.
Oh.
So depending on how large your estate is, but still, if you have an estate that's where you have a home and a car, and if you have a child, and the one thing I want to say, going back to the child thing, the biggest thing you have, okay. So you and your spouse
Right.
you're 30 years old, you have 2 kids, okay? You're in an airplane crash and you die.
Right.
Who's going to be the guardian of that child?
Well, that was the thing that we
Okay.
were talking about with my daughter as well.
Yeah, very much so.
It's really important, right?
Yeah.
Because what happens to them if the parents pass away and...
Then if you don't have
Yes.
that, the state will come in, but I mean, they're going to turn it over to grandma and grandpa or something like that. But, they go through that. But you got to go to court, you got to do that, and... like we know each other well. So with your grandchildren, of course you're going to want to go with grandma, but still they have to get the approval and you got to get the
Right.
guardianship and that. So if you already have that in there, what I did when I was younger in my trust, because my parents my mother wouldn't have been able to handle because of a disability, but they were the guardians of my children. Okay. But only for the financial aspect. And my spouse's parents would have been the ones who took care of her, the children, because they could physically do that.
So you can name different people for different
You can do anything you want in these things.
Wow, that's wonderful.
You can change it like crazy.
Wow, that's great to know. Well, Ken, thank you so much for taking the time.
You're welcome.
And giving me this information and giving the audience.
You're
know
welcome.
we're going to get you
Hope
on
it
here
helped.
again.
Okay.
It is a lot of information. So if you need to speak with Ken, what was your phone number again?
702-893-9500. And do this, give me your phone number because she does real estate. I mean, I tell you, she sold a lot of homes for me, a lot. And bought a lot of homes. She's the best.
Thanks for the plug, Ken. And by the way, you aren't going to get Ken.
You're
going to get Ann.
Get your phone number.
And you can reach me at 702-338-8480. Thanks, you guys, for watching, and look forward to the next segment.